Now we're heading to our news hour in Smart Main's business. Starting off, government is set to eliminate underperforming programs and duplication in the 2022-23 financial year budget. Now, according to the Finance Ministry, Ramadan Gobi, the ministry's permanent secretary and also secretary to the Treasury, who is leading the process, is very keen on ensuring that the planning aspect informs the budget. Take a look at this report.
The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development has started formulating the budget strategy for the financial year 2022-2023 under the theme Industrialization for Inclusive Growth, Employment and Wealth Creation. Ramadan Gobi, the Ministry Permanent Secretary as well as Secretary to the Treasury, says is very keen to ensuring that planning aspects informs the budget. According to the Finance Ministry, via its official Twitter handle, they have trained technical staff in preparation for the rollout of programmatic approach in the financial year 2022-2023 budget and beyond, saying budgeting in line with the NDP3 programs is aimed at matching resources to the result. He added that this is an opportunity to eliminate underperforming programs, insufficient service delivery as well as duplication, rationalism of government agencies and minimized creation of administrative units in line with the programmatic approach.
All right, now moving on. Ugandans in Afghanistan have actually rejected the proposal to be evacuated away from the country that seems to be still under crisis now, and they set to they claims that they want to continue to do business regardless of the prevailing instabilities in that particular country. Now, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, General J.J. Odong, has said that despite calls to evacuate the Ugandans that have been trapped in Afghanistan, some of them did refuse to leave the Middle East country. Take a look at this report.
The number of Ugandans in Afghanistan is unknown. However, officials say that there were some 10 Ugandans evacuated by the United Nations on the flights to the United Kingdom, and 6 of these arrived in Uganda. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, J.J. Odong, says they established the presence of 3 more Ugandans who are willing to be evacuated, and arrangements were made to have them evacuated, saying despite calls to evacuate Ugandans trapped in Afghanistan, some of them refused to leave the Middle East country. He says that as Uganda, they are working very hard to look out for any other more Ugandans in the Afghanistan capital. According to the Minister of Gender, some Ugandans were evacuated in April 2020 during the COVID-19 worldwide lockdown, and it is not clear how many Ugandans have remained. The Minister of Foreign Affairs also gave an update on the 51 evacuees that arrived last week, saying the request to host the Afghan nationals is temporary and the group is undergoing quarantine as part of the measures to contain the spread of COVID-19. However, he says they do not know how long the Afghanistan evacuees are going to stay in Uganda. Bedson Mumbere, Smart 24.
Our questions coming in with the fact that most of the Ugandans were hitting onto the government to actually also look and see that Ugandans in Afghanistan that were actually stranded should also return home. I think with this particular report, you could easily tell that Ugandans who have been stranded in Afghanistan do not seem to be stranded, as most probably, according to reports, most of them want to continue with business regardless of the political instabilities in the country of the Middle East over there in Afghanistan, or in Kabul, in the capital of Afghanistan. All right, now moving on. Uganda Breweries Limited has paid taxes in excess of 7.4 trillion Ugandan shillings for the past 75 years. Now, this revelation did come out as Uganda Breweries did mark 75 years of conducting business in Uganda, or should we say, celebrating the Platinum Jubilee. Take a look at this report.
In 2020 alone, Uganda Breweries Limited paid 420 billion in taxes, making the brewery the 7th taxpayer in Uganda. As a result, Uganda Breweries Limited contributes 0.4% of the country's GDP. Current reports indicates that Uganda Breweries Limited has paid 7.4 trillion in taxes to Uganda Revenue Authority in its 75 years of operating in Uganda. Experts say this is what over 3 ministries, departments and agencies of the government can survive on for a full financial year. Jimmy Mugera, the Executive Managing Director at Uganda Breweries Limited, says that 75 years has been possible because of what he described as a masterful leadership from the board to the management. He says that outside the investment in the brewery, UBL invested socially. For instance, last year, UBL invested 4 billion to give access to clean and safe water to the people of Budo. Pedson Mumbere, Smart 24.
All right, now should we say congratulations or happy celebrations to Uganda Breweries Limited, and thank you for making sure you serve the nation in regards to that particular sector of yours in terms of the entertainment, and making sure you keep millions of Ugandans' hearts happy in terms of alcohol consumption in regards to that. All right, now moving on, we head to our neighbors in Kenya, where Kenya has actually praised herself forward in regards to the fight against poaching after the animal census shows quite a number of improvement. Now, according to the data, Kenya has 36,280 elephants, and among other things, a population that is up to 21% from 2014, when poaching had picked up in Kenya. Now, this census, financed by the Kenyan government, allowed to count 30 different species of animals on the nearly 59% of the territory was studied. Take a look at this story. Kenyan authorities have welcomed the progress made in the fight against poaching after the publication Monday night of the first animal census conducted in the country, which should serve as a basis for improving environmental conservation. Efforts to increase penalties against crimes related to the endangered species appear to be paying off, the census authors say in their report. President Uhuru Kenyatta praised the success of environmental protection agencies in the fight against poaching, while urging them to find innovative approaches to protect wildlife. The International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, warned in March that Africa's elephant population was being disseminated by poaching and habitat destruction, particularly through land conversion for agriculture. The population of African savanna elephants has plummeted by at least 60% over the past 50 years, resulting in their classification as endangered in the latest update of the IUCN's danger list. All right, now still in Kenya, meanwhile, in regards to that, and Kenya is actually posing a challenge to Uganda on the Uganda Tourism Board to see that can we also carry out a huge census and see the improvement in terms of the animals that we do have in terms of the wildlife, and also this will help us understand whether we are conserving our wildlife or we are definitely not conserving at all. All right, now still in Kenya, the Kenyan cost of living has soared again, with August inflation climbing up to 6.6%. Now, the cost of living has soared again as the rate of inflation did climb to 6.6% in August, according to the new data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. Take a look. The negligible change in the inflation rate between August and July revised numbers is, however, attributable to marginal increases in food and energy costs. According to Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, the cost of living has soared again at the rate of inflation climbing to 6.57% in August. The food and non-alcoholic beverages index has, for instance, risen by 0.46%, while that covering housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels has jumped by 0.32%. Among the food commodities to have registered higher prices in the past month includes peanuts, with a kilogram now selling at an average 66.03 from 64.07 in July. Other food commodities to register higher prices in the month include beef, carrots, oranges and cabbages. On the flip side, transport costs has seen the biggest dip during the month, with its index seeing the only ease at 0.32%. All right, now the Kenyan cost of living has soared and 6.6%. And if we were to look at the products that have actually had their prices increase, include the likes of beef, carrots, oranges and cabbages, including spinach as well, coming in up there in that particular one, as the inflation seems to have soared to 6.6%. Now that brings us to the end of our news hour here on Smart Main's Business. Let's take a break. We return with a discussion in regards to the reopening of schools. This is SMB.